It's the connection. And I think copy, when it's super aligned, and I just made a post on my Instagram actually talking about, are you catfishing people with your copy? Because it should sound like you. That's my job, is to make it sound like you. And I think there's a lot of business owners who struggle with taking their brand voice and being consistent with it on their website and their written materials.
Hey, Anna, do you think people are listening?
Yeah, why wouldn't they be? We make business so fun.
Don't we? In that case, let's introduce ourselves.
Hey, it's Anna and Selena and the 15-ish minute coffee chat podcast. Talking business doesn't have to be boring, so dive into our coffee chat conversations and learn something new for your small business.
All right.
Whatever. This is what we do. This is what we do.
What's behind great copy? We often hear that including the human perspective is an important part of connecting with our audience. So, what does that mean, and how do you do that as a small business owner? Thanks for joining us today to discuss the human perspective in copywriting for your small business brand with our guest, Naomi, in today's 15-ish minute coffee chat episode with Anna and Selena. 12 seasons, you guys, of helping entrepreneurs and small business owners build more profitable businesses.
Every time she says 12 seasons, I feel like I have to go 12.
Gosh.
12.
Yeah, it's a
So
big
awesome.
deal. Literally, if we could transport back to our very first episode, I don't know if we would have thought we would have made it this long, to be honest, right? Like,
That first episode was pretty darn rough.
I know.
We've
All right, Anna.
refined. We're in such a better place now. And honestly, the guests that we have on us add so much value to any small business owner, entrepreneur. Here's what I love, right? It's like this digestible little tidbit that you get where you're like, what can I do today to implement this thing in my business, which is going to improve it exponentially.
100%. And I totally believe that as a business owner, if you have money to spare to build your business up and get the right messaging out, I think it should always be with a copywriter, always, because they do the research. They do hey, let's talk about you a little bit more, Anna, so I can develop. They watch you talk sometimes, right? And I think, so there's no work on your part except just to be you. And so you're just helping a copywriter. And I think that's super important. As you all know, Anna is the peanut butter to my jelly. She's the copywriter and I'm the techie person. And together we make a great team. And I think that's really important to know about copywriters. And so that's all I'm going to say. But Anna, what's our call to action?
Well, we're going to talk about copywriting all day today. So let's start with a call to action, which is going to be a big question, right? Because we've all heard, ChatGPT, AI, it's going to take over copy for everyone, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So what we want to know from you today is stop and evaluate what percentage of your copy is currently coming from AI. We want to know. Drop it in the comments so that we just have a general idea of what we're looking at in terms of, is it 100% and you're just copying and pasting it and throwing it in? Because if you are, this is the show for you.
Yes.
If it's 30% even, evaluating what that 30% looks like and what you're doing with it is going to make a big difference in your business. But we're going to go ahead and read Naomi's bio, bring her on and start to talk about the human perspective. Okay. So Naomi is an SEO-friendly copywriter for service-based brands and businesses. Her focus with each project is to craft strategic, conversation-driven copy that aligns with her client's ideal audience and attracts the right kind of qualified leads while they sleep. Okay, sounds magical to me. I love that. When she's not helping her clients make their copy the number one salesman in their business, you can likely find her binge watching The Office, choreographing a new combo for her dance students, or whipping up something delicious in the kitchen. You can read more about Naomi and her copywriting business on glasshousemedia.com or on Instagram as Glasshouse Media. We'll include all of that contact information again, so you don't have to write it down right now.
She is my spirit animal. She loves The Office. I don't like to dance, but I love watching people dance. And she likes to cook in the kitchen. That's a trifecta if I've not heard one.
I know.
Seriously.
I'm going to bring Naomi in so we can
let's
say
do it.
hi.
Hi.
Show.
Yeah. We're so glad you're here.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Wait, I have a totally rogue question, but if you could be any
Ready.
character from The Office, who is that?
Oh my God. That's a tough question. I love Phyllis. I think she's so funny. I do love Angela because she's so bitchy. Is that okay to say?
Yes, totally.
And she's a cat lady, which I am a cat lady. I like to think I'm not as cold and mean, but her character just always has something really snappy and like negative to say, and it's shocking.
Right?
Yeah,
she has that soft spot, but she's so funny.
Yeah,
she surprises you as a character towards the end.
Oh my gosh,
I would want to be Jim, and I just because all I want to do is think up ways to make Dwight feel like.
I have constant fear of being Michael. Constant fear. I love him and his character, but we all know what kind of leadership that is.
We do for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes you a little paranoid.
Okay. Yeah. Again, guys, that was totally rogue, not planned. You can ask Naomi. She had no idea we were going to be asking her that. But let's take our coffee cup selfie real fast, and then we're going to start the show.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Perfect.
Let's get you in the power position here, and let's start the show.
Perfect.
Anna, what's our first question?
All right. So we talked a little bit. Our call to action was about AI, right? So we're going to have people dropping in kind of that percentage of copy that they're using that it just is coming straight from that AI generator. So the first question that we have for you today, Naomi, is why is the human perspective important? And we're specifically talking about copy here.
Yeah. So I love this question. For me, the human perspective is so important because we have the emotional capacity that AI just simply doesn't have. It's pulling from all of these different places on the internet. There's really no original content with AI. And I, as a copywriter, can offer my clients like, hi, here's how people actually think. Here's what they're actually talking about. Here's not just what they're talking about, but how they're actually saying it. Because a huge part of copywriting and being able to persuade people is taking their words and speaking it back to them. And there's so much research that goes into creating that and forming a really useful strategy. But yeah, we offer emotion. Sorry, AI, but you can't feel emotion.
True story.
True story. Yeah.
Yes, I can.
Yes,
I can.
We feel such deep emotions. And so, but we can do it in a way where it's also not coming off as sleazy or icky. I talk a lot on LinkedIn and Instagram about ethical copywriting because using things like pressure tactics and preying on vulnerable, say you're a divorce coach helping women in their 30s, 40s, 50s get through their divorce and come out the other side feeling really strong and really great about themselves. If you're using sleazy copy that's preying on their insecurities and their vulnerabilities, then you're attracting people with tactics that are like pretty icky in my opinion. And so that's something that as a copywriter, I'm really focused on is how can I pull people in by meeting them, making them feel understood and heard and valued and not manipulated or shamed or guilted into working with that service provider.
Yeah. Naomi, I love that you said like ethical because sometimes I don't think people realize, right? Hey, yes, we use it. That name we shall not name today in this show. But like we use it, but sometimes because you don't know it's not your skill set, you don't realize what it's written for you even.
Of course.
And you put it out there. And again, then that represents your brand. Right.
Well, that's the thing is I don't want to shade people who are using it because we all have different budgets. People who are starting out in business have a completely different caliber of what they're able to do versus clients of mine who have been in business for 5 years, 10 years and have the budget for copy. So I totally get it, but it's really important to at least make sure whatever you're copying, pasting into your website, emails, whatever, you're injecting your brand voice into it and making sure that the messaging is aligned with what you want to put out into the world.
And I
No, that's super important.
one of the things I love that you said, and when we're especially discussing like that human perspective, is you said that you want the audience to feel heard and understood versus manipulated and forced almost in that sense. And I think if you were to ask almost any brand in the world, so do you want to manipulate your clients or do you want to make them feel heard and understood? We know what the answer is going to be, right? Like it's not going to be like, I want to manipulate them to use my
Hopefully.
Michael Scott might have a different plan.
That's true.
At that point, you might not be the right copywriter for them in that sense. But I think that's really important because when a business owner is reading through what they're writing or what they've had written or trying to even revise what they've had written for them, if you're not skilled in what manipulation looks like in copy, you might not recognize it.
Because it's so easy to, not to interject there, but it's easy to lean on that first and think of, I want to really like push into these pain points and things like that. And yes, that is something that we want to do a little bit, but not to the point where people feel like icky after they're reading. I keep using that word icky, but that's really sometimes how I personally feel. It's like the only word that comes to mind when I read about coaches who are like, this is how I made $1 million in 3 weeks, working an hour a day. It just makes you feel bad about what you're doing and setting these super unrealistic expectations of what is going to happen if you join their program or whatever else.
Yeah. On a totally side note, I just want to say, as a reader of copy too, practice like understanding what those feelings are for yourself. And if you do get that icky feeling, it might not be the right company for you. Just gonna throw that out there as a totally off subject like conversation. But okay, so I love how you define human perspective. I think that is a fantastic like initiation into what copywriting can truly do for a brand in that sense. So when you're a small business owner and you're thinking about what is it that you need to know about your own business before you go out to hire this copywriter?
Yeah, this is an excellent question. And it's something I've had to actually turn down a couple clients for if they weren't totally aware of certain things in their business. You need to know your audience. You can have many different like personas and audiences and things like that, but you at least need to know generally who you're speaking to and what they need from you. If you don't even know what they want, what's important to them, what motivates them, what keeps them up at night, all of these things, I really don't have a lot of direction and your copy isn't going to do its job. And ultimately it's wasting your investment. So I've had to turn down a couple clients even this past year for that because I refuse to waste someone's investment. It's just these things that you need to know. And something else too is you need to know, what is your goal? Why do you want to hire me? What's the ultimate goal you're trying to reach by revamping your copy? Are you trying to pivot to a new audience, trying to sell this new offer? Why? All of these questions are things that you really need to ask yourself as a business owner to make sure that whatever you're investing and whoever you're working with, it's going to turn out the way that you expect, and it's going to help you grow your business.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Can I just interject real fast, Anna? It's almost those people when you sit down during that onboarding process and then they're like, oh no, I don't know. You tell me what I should do. You know what I mean? And you're like, I don't know your business yet. Do you know your business?
And that's the difference is I say to people sometimes, I'm like, I'm a copywriter. I'm not a business strategist. These are things that you need to know. And there are elements of strategy that I am doing as a copywriter. I am setting the stage for the layout of the copy so that they can hand that to their designer and it will be dictated by the copy a bit. But I can't do the research for you. Those are all things that you need to know and be prepared to do so that I can do the best possible job for you.
So I was going to ask you, and you said you're not a business strategist, but do you have some basic, like, do copywriters normally the standard have some basic like intake questions that they're going to be asking the business owner, what does that look like? You mentioned audience and you mentioned your why and like your end goal, those three things. But what is that process that a business owner should expect if they hire a copywriter, as opposed to just being able to like everything and anything about their business itself?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first step for me is we always hop on a discovery call. That's not only to make sure that the timelines match up, that I can literally take the project on, but also that we're a fit. I'm a really good fit for people who are creatives. They're coaches, they're designers, wedding pros, even like online business managers. I am not a fit for someone who is in tech or manufacturing. You're never going to find me writing for like a fintech brand. That is not for me. So that's the first step in the process. And then once we decide that we are a fit and we have you locked into my calendar, we do have an onboarding questionnaire. And so that's something that if you're a business owner who is looking to get some copy done, ask these copywriters, do you have a questionnaire? How do you get to know my business? My questionnaire is a little bit in depth. So I tell clients really sit down and make sure you take your time and give me so much detail. The best copy that I am able to write that converts super well is for clients who give me paragraphs in their questionnaire. I'm like, I don't care if you think this isn't important, give me everything you've got. And it does ask things like, who's your audience? Think about your ideal client. What's their age? What are they doing on a daily basis? What's like their morning routine? And it's getting into who are these people that we're talking to? What problem are we trying to solve? And then I also ask questions too. What's your morning routine? Are you a morning person or a night person? What can I catch you sipping on during the day?
Yeah.
Because then it's those little personal details that I inject in places where somebody might be reading it and they're like, oh my God, that I love that too. I do this too. We're the same. And so it's all of these details that come together that really the goal is for my clients, ideal clients, to hop onto their website and just think, oh my God, I have to meet this person. I have to work with this person. And yeah, the questionnaire is a huge part of that process.
Okay. So can I just jump in really quick? So
Sure,
two things. One, my favorite question that I love to ask is, what does your ideal client read? I want to know what they read. Like, that's something that for some reason resonates with me as a writer, right? Like where I feel like I can glean good information from that. But my second question is, so you have this questionnaire and somebody says, well, here's the morning routine. Talk to me just a little bit about how you take that morning routine and turn it into great copy with a human perspective. What does that look like?
So one of my clients that I worked with last year, actually in beginning of Q4, she is a waxer. So she's an esthetician who specializes in like Brazilian waxes, brow waxes. And I get brow waxes myself. So I was like, perfect. And she was moving to Atlanta. So she was like, I need new copy for my brand new studio website. And she loves country music. She's told me that she's like a 23-year-old grandma. I like to listen to Luke Combs. I like to read. I like to be in bed by 8:00. I don't go out and party. I like to be inside. And I was the same. But I was able to take those details and talk about, this is what to expect when you walk into my salon. You are going to feel so welcomed, so comfortable. And we're going to sing along to my Luke Combs Spotify playlist. And I inject those little details here and there to make her relatable. And I actually, about a month ago, I was messaging with her on Instagram and she sent me a screenshot of a message a client sent to her. And they were like, I had the best wax with you. Thank you so much. This was an amazing experience. And I knew from the second I saw your website that we were going to be a fit just based on how you sounded. Because they were the same age. And it's those little things of just feeling, wow, this is the service provider for me.
Yeah. And you know what I love about that is what you just described is the process of a business owner, not just getting a sale, but creating a loyal client. It's going to come back over and over again. And ultimately, as business owners, that's what we want, right? Yeah. That's the whole purpose of great copy, is to create a community, a brand loyalty.
It's the connection. And I think copy, when it's super aligned, and I just made a post on my Instagram actually talking about, are you catfishing people with your copy? Because it should sound like you. That's my job, is to make it sound like you. And I think there's a lot of business owners who struggle with taking their brand voice and being consistent with it on their website and their written materials, but also bringing it into in-person interactions, because maybe they're trying to be something they're not, but it's no, your website should sound exactly like how you talk. And when people feel like, oh my God, I feel like I know you just from reading your copy, and those expectations don't change when they meet you in person, that's the goal.
Yeah, I love that you said that, because you're right. When somebody gets introduced to you via your website first, and then they meet you, it almost is such a seamless interaction of, she totally sounds like her about page, or, oh my gosh, that Luke Combs is totally playing in her studio because she talks about it. You know what I mean? I love that you say that. And I don't think we've ever said that in our heart. Like, when I think about it like that, just saying it should be you from here to here. But again, we do deal with a lot of businesses, so it's not just like an individual, but still, I love that you said that.
Business, right? You're still meeting with a single person, right? So one of the things I love about this too is that, okay, I just want to tell our audience, like right now, drop into the comments, if there was the one thing you would want your copy to convey about you, what is it? If you were to stop and say, this is what I want those people coming to my site, or those people reading my copy or my sales brochure or whatever it is, this is what I want them to know about me specifically. Is it your integrity, your honesty, your trustworthy, the quality of your products, how important, the importance you place on whatever it is, right? I'm super curious. I want to know what that is. Okay, we're going to jump into our last question for you today. Yeah. So the last question, which I really love, you talked about it a little bit with the questionnaire, but what questions now should a small business owner be asking to ensure they're getting a copywriter that's right for them?
That is a good question, because with most copywriters, it is an investment and you want to make sure that you're working with someone who gets you. I think first off, can we get on a call? I know a lot of business owners who have worked with clients, or worked with copywriters, who maybe weren't willing to get on a call, which I personally find a little bit odd. I'm not usually talking on the phone with clients. We're always on a Zoom call, because I think for me, I get a better vibe of someone and who they are over Zoom when I can see their face. So ask them if they're able to get on a call, and ask them questions like, again, do you have a questionnaire? How do you get into my voice? What kind of copy do you usually write? So again, somebody who is in manufacturing, if I get their discovery call form and I see what their industry is, I might just send them an email and be like, listen, I so appreciate you booking with me. This is probably not going to be a fit, because I don't want to waste anyone's time. But those are huge questions to ask yourself, even just when you're looking at their websites, portfolio. When you are reading someone's portfolio, do you feel like they have captured the voice of that business, and they're able to tap into various brand voices for their clients? Those are all really important to make sure that they can do the best job possible for you. Because that's like the number one question people ask me is, can you make it sound like me? And I'm like, of course. That's what I'm here. Because going back to the brand questionnaire, I ask questions too, because I'm an SEO friendly, I say, copywriter. What kind of keywords would you search for to find your own services? And then I also ask, what kind of keywords would you not use, or what kind of keywords do you not want to see? Because there are a lot of, buzzwords out there, especially for service providers like coaches and things like that. And they're just like, I do not want this word anywhere on my website. So that really is a guide for me to be like, all right, let's not use this. And it shows me a little bit about the kind of services they do provide. So
I love when like a client has a little bit of an understanding of how SEO can really truly help your site. We actually chatted with a guest for this coming season, and when we were done with the recording, we chatted, and he says, hey, just make sure to add my initial, because when you Google me without that initial, I don't come up. But when you put my initial, like, he comes up because it's a very common name. So he's battling all the other names. But when you put the initial in the copy, then all of a sudden our stuff, so I thought it was good that he knew that. But him telling a copywriter that, hey, if you do stuff, just saying that little bit makes a difference. And I relating that to what you said about, hey, give me some keywords. Sometimes they don't realize, and it can be like the fun, like slang stuff sometimes, right? You got to be real serious about it.
Again, that's how we tap into your voice. I want to know, what kind of words do you actually use? I had a client recently too who was going back and forth with whether she wanted to call herself a brand strategist or a brand consultant or my gosh, I'm forgetting the term a fractional CMO. And she was like, I have a visceral reaction to the term fractional CMO. She's like, my husband wants me to use it. I hate it. And I was like, I hate it too for you, because I don't think that it's a fit. So having those discussions, not only in the discovery calls, and we do kickoff calls too for my clients to kick off their project and everything, but asking them those questions of, how do you want me to refer to you? What are these words you want to see? And it helps, all those little details about the colloquialisms helps me tap into how they actually speak so that everything is super accurate to who they are.
Yeah. You know what I love about this conversation is I feel like it really gives a small business owner or an entrepreneur, it gives them a really good idea of where they need to be in their business to be ready to invest in a copywriter. And, and knowing that if you're not quite there are copywriters that will do both their brand strategy aligned with copy for you, right?
Totally.
And that's what you need to look for then, as opposed to just a straight copywriter. But knowing that, it's so much self-awareness about really what you're looking for. And if you don't know that, your copy is never going to reflect it because you don't know what it is we're trying to reflect.
Oh my gosh.
True.
No, I do. I love this. I can appreciate this. And I do see the difference between the AI and a true copywriter. Because like I said, I can't always have Anna at my expense, right? To say, can you please just whatever. So usually she's double checking me and I'll be like, I know you didn't have time and I can't write like you. And so she'll go in and she'll tweak it. And I want to bring up just something that we had discussed with Naomi before. And I think using AI for ideation is something that don't use it as your end all be all. Like really, if you're going to use it, Naomi is just using it for ideation and creating a framework possibly, but try not to go 100%. Oh,
yeah. I think it's totally, especially for social media. I will be the first to admit, I struggle with my own social media content.
Same.
I get Instagram fatigue
Oh
constantly.
Yes.
So it's tough for me. So sometimes I understand the need to go to ChatGPT or something like that and ask for some content ideas. But yeah, I see a lot of times, I see it on LinkedIn, especially the copy and pasting from ChatGPT. And it's just, it goes back to brand voice. We just totally lose who you are. And it's much, much easier. I think we're not totally realizing it yet, but it is so much easier, like by the day, to see when someone is, or to be able to tell when someone is using it. So just being very careful and putting your own spin on it is really important.
Yeah.
There's a small business community Selena and I are both part of, and there was somebody that just posted in there, if you do not use the words delve into in your normal life, do not put it in your copy, because it is a clear indication you just chat GPT the entire thing.
It's also like the unleash your potential, unlock.
Fabric of our community, or fabric.
Hey, you two copywriters. I like those. I feel like I start using it in my daily.
That. Selena, I have known you for 5 years and you have never said in the fabric of my life, or let's delve into this.
No,
you've never ever used those.
Those are not my words. So
if you talk like that in real life, more power to you. Use them on your website.
He's going to be your best friend.
No, I know. I hear you. I love this. And Naomi, thank you so much. And you're just fabulous. This was a great conversation and a reminder about what a copywriter can do for your business, and like how they can really elevate your brand to your audience, plain and simple. So I know their value. If I could have one just writing from my mind all the time, where I'm like, can we talk together? That's what I would love. Okay. I am going to share our toolkit, and let's do this. Let me see where okay. This is the screen. All right. Oh, okay. We love sharing something from our guests if they have one. And guess what? Naomi has one. So Naomi, tell everybody about your toolkit that they should have in their arsenal.
Yeah, sure. So my free guide that I offer on my website is called, as you can see, 10 Steps to Making More Money with Your Website. And it really covers 10 major things that I see lacking on a lot of websites that I check out, and things that can help you optimize yours to bring in more clients and therefore sales. Your website really should be,
Mhm.
like I say in my bio, your number one salesman,
Yeah.
just working for you constantly. It's really important to keep it updated, keep it optimized, have really good brand images, great design, things like that, so that when people land on your site, they're not just bouncing right off. They're really
Yeah.
soaking it all in, and you're pulling in people who are the right fit as well. So this covers 10 ways to do that.
You guys, make sure we have the link to this toolkit in our podcast and YouTube descriptions, and obviously also on our website for the show notes. And yeah, grab it. Why not? Why don't you want to have 10 steps
I
to
know.
making more money, guys? And then,
Celebrate yourself that you're doing those
right?
things.
No,
Absolutely.
totally. Naomi, if they want to continue the conversation with you, where can they find you?
Yeah, so you can hop onto my website, of course. Even though I do struggle with Instagram burnout, I have it on my phone. I'm always there. So you can reach out and follow me there, and on LinkedIn. Yeah, so
I
always
love it.
shoot me a DM or follow my content. I have a blog too.
So look,
Yay!
any of these
There's
places.
a couple places to check my
Yeah,
stuff
you guys. I don't know about you guys, but I'm definitely want to check out the article that you wrote about am I catfishing you or whatever. I just
Oh,
love
yes.
that. That's a genius word to use in an article.
It's so true though.
Yes. Anna, I guess this is the end of our show. We say goodbye to
No.
our guests. Anna's good at signing us off, Naomi, because I ramble toward the end and
He gets all like emotional about it.
do.
Not that I'm
I
not
do.
emotional, but I have really enjoyed this conversation.
Yeah.
As somebody who is a writer, I do feel it's so important to make sure that you're really capturing what you want your brand to be. So
Yeah.
check out Naomi, come find Anna and Selena in all the places. And thank you for joining us today for the 15-ish minute coffee chat. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.